Okay, Todd, thanks so much for taking the time to share your experience working with Peak Financial Wellness so that other business owners that may be considering working with us can see what it's like. So I'm just going to give you a second to introduce yourself.
Sure. So I'm Todd Church. I own Clearpoint Technology and Design. We are an audiovisual system design and integration company. So we work in the technology field. And we started working with Peak Financial because we are in a season of growth that we just weren't expecting to grow this fast. And we are very budget minded and numbers minded. And so Peak Financial was recommended to us by a friend of mine, and we have been working with Chelsea, and it has been just amazing. So, yeah, looking forward to sharing more about this experience.
It's been a pleasure working with you too. So before you started working with us, how were you feeling about your overall business finances?
It's a great question. I think we were feeling good about our finances. We were making money. We were doing well. Bills were getting paid, and projects were coming in. But there was always the unknown. As a small business owner, there's always the unknown of where's everything actually going? Where's all the money actually going? What should we be doing with our money? How can we just be not afraid to grow, but also not unwise with those decisions? And so I felt like before we were working with Peak Financial, we just had a lot of unknowns. We just had a lot of unknowns that we wanted to really nail down and understand more about the financial path that we were on. There were a lot of things that we didn't know, and I think that that was something that was very clear to me before we started working together.
Yeah, it can be really tough to make decisions confidently when you feel like you're winging it.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, indeed.
So what was the biggest challenge that you were facing with your business?
I think the biggest challenge, um, was specifically when it comes to finances, was feeling confident that we were making a good decision, be it uh, buying tools and equipment, or be it setting aside money for taxes, or whatever the case may be. A lot of times it wasn't so much difficult to make the decisions, but it was difficult for me to feel confident that it was the right one. There's a difference. I personally think there's a difference between making a decision and making a decision with a plan behind it. And I feel like that has been the challenge up until this point. That's how I would answer that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, is it definitely, yeah, having a plan makes all the difference. So what was the moment that you decided that something had to change and you booked a call with us?
Yeah. So I would say it was the end of last year. Um, we uh, we closed our books at a good number. We had grown from the year before, but the bottom line numbers, the net profit amount, and some other key indicating numbers about the health of the business were lower than what I thought they would be. And um and then on top of that, we looking ahead into the present year that we're in, 2024. It was one of those things where we had a lot of work coming up, and I personally was at a spot where it's like I need to start hiring people. And I that terrified me. Payroll scares me. Having the responsibility of you know um being responsible to other people's lives, is the kind of the serious mindset that I have towards it. And I wanted to do that well, but I also was like, I don't know how we're going to do that. I don't know where the capital is going to come from, because unfortunately, like I would say fortunately, but some people might say unfortunately, I don't have the $1.5 million loan to put towards startup capital or whatever. Like this is all um I would say this is all coming from a place of where our reputation is helping us grow, but it's helped us grow to the point where it's like we have to have more people, more hands on deck, so to speak. And so that those two things I think ultimately pushed me to say, hey, we really need to make a plan moving forward. We need to know how we're going to pay these people. We need to know how I'm going to pay myself, like how we're going to do taxes, how we're going to make these decisions with more of that confidence that I was talking about, and how we're going to do it and feel good about it. And not, have so much worry and angst, behind it.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. As you're scaling, that's the thing, is if you're scaling a smaller number than you want, and that bottom line, you're going to continue to scale that low number, and you end up on this
Yeah.
hamster wheel where if you don't, like fix the foundation first, you could just,
Yes.
scale at a rate that you don't really want to scale at.
Right. Yeah.
So what other things did you try prior to working with us to fix, the lower profitability and that feeling of winging it and the anxiousness before, and why did it not work for you?
Yeah. That's a really good question. I I feel like I'm a spreadsheet guy. So like I love my spreadsheets, and if anything is fixable by putting it in a spreadsheet and understanding it more, I would say that was my go-to. And as strong of a spreadsheet user as I am, I would still miss details, or I would still second guess myself, or whatever. And it just, as much as I love my spreadsheets, there's a difference between understanding how to use a spreadsheet and understanding how the data that comes from the numbers that you put in there, how that can, change the direction that you're headed. So I'll share this quick story. We, before working with Peak Financial, I had a mishap with our quoting. I actually thought my quoting, methods and everything for the projects that we do, I thought our calculations were correct, and they weren't. And then on top of that, we have expertise in system design. And this is one of the first things that you helped us identify, Chelsea, is that we weren't charging people for things like that. We weren't charging customers for that knowledge and for that special expertise in how to put the systems together. And I couldn't believe that. So I think trying to fix everything by a spreadsheet, trying to do it, the manual way, so to speak, and trying to understand it the best that I could in my own head was our biggest roadblock. And not working with someone that actually understands far more like in-depth details about the numbers of a business. That was, yeah, that was a roadblock for sure.
Yeah. Yeah, I have to give you props for your spreadsheet skills, because most clients that come to me don't have them and are really uncomfortable with the numbers. And it's more than just, being comfortable with the numbers. It's knowing those things that are maybe outside the box that you wouldn't have thought of on your own, like the
Yeah.
system design and things like that. So
Yeah.
yeah, but yeah, that's all moving in a great direction now. So tell me, what hesitations or fears did you have about working with us?
I think the affordability was one concern. Anytime you work with a professional consultant, especially when you start talking about money and things that are like the lifeblood of a business, I kind of equated you guys to an architect, so to speak. Anytime you work with an architect, as you can imagine, it would be very expensive for them to design, anything for a building, or an architectural project. I kind of compared that and used that analogy in my head to you guys. It's like you guys are like the architects of our numbers, and you understand that. And I knew you guys were professionals based off of the recommendation that we received to work with you. And so I was nervous. I was like, man, these guys are legit, and they're professional, and oh my gosh, can we afford them? And I will say that that was quickly justified. I think the rates that we have with you guys has been that fear about your rates was alleviated. I think it's completely fair and worth every penny. And then I think another fear about working with Peak Financial was just that you. I was so afraid that you guys were going to come in and be like, there's red flags everywhere. Like you got to fix so much. And, just, I'm a very by the book person. So, we run our business very, very clean. Having clean books is a real thing for me. I always share the joke about how there's plenty of phone record out there of me talking to our tax accountant saying, I don't mess with taxes. I'm not going to jail for taxes. Like, taxes are going to be done right. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. But I was nervous that you guys were going to come in and look at our trajectory or our history and go like, what are you doing? Like, you're missing so much. So and I was just nervous that you're gonna poke holes in everything, which you did, but in a very good way. And it wasn't red flags everywhere. It was like, hey, you're on the right track, but we've helped you identify where we can go and how to do that better. So anyways, I would say those were two just, kind of big fears of mine.
Yeah, well, we try to come at you with solutions. If we're going to poke holes in something, we want to give you
Right.
the way to come out of it and not just leave you.
Yes.
Yeah. So
Yes.
even though you were nervous about the investment, which, CFO consulting is a more expensive investment, even though you
Yes.
were concerned about the investment and you had those fears about us maybe finding some things that you would have to change and you would have to make those changes, why did you choose to move forward anyway?
That's a very important thing I think to talk about here. It's I think there's in the world of money, um, you can go a million different directions. I mean, I'm not a CFO. I don't understand, a lot of what a CFO, just like yourself, would do, and how to do it well. But what I can say is that in the world of money, it's very important that you do the right thing, in my opinion. And um, I think it, I think it would be foolish not to, uh, if your business is scaling, I'll speak, from our perspective. I think it would be foolish to ignore a lending hand or a helping hand, so to speak. Even if there is an investment that does, push you a little bit. It can feel uncomfortable to invest in something like this, um, for some, but at the same time, and you have to understand where your limitations are as a business owner. Just because you're the business owner doesn't mean you know it all, and it doesn't mean that you have it all figured out when it comes to the money. And I think you have to recognize the value that this type of service brings. And I don't know if this is going to be one of your next questions, but I will say that the investment is something you have to. It's not just investing in someone's skill set, and someone's professional expertise in this field. It's also investing in your own peace of mind as a business owner, because Lord knows, my brain doesn't stop when it comes to how we do things around here, or the operations and the day to day and all that stuff. But I guess working with Peak Financial and working with you, Chelsea, it's been a peace of mind that is, validating and showing a clear direction. Like, you're on the right track. You're not straying too far left or right. You're not about to fall off a cliff. Like, you're on the right track. And so even though, yes, it is an investment, and yes, that's, money that, on paper could be put somewhere else to grow the business. I think there's reason, more than enough reason to, in my opinion, I guess, protect your financial pathway. And that's what I feel like we're doing with Peak Financial. I feel like we're having the professional set of eyes and the professional expertise that is our shield, so to speak, around our budget and around our financial trajectory, to ensure that we're not, we may not be getting everything perfect, but we're also not tanking, and I think there's no question in my mind that that's worth every penny, just in the stress savings alone.
Just in the stress. Yeah. Yeah. Our goal is that you get that investment back with the improvements that we help you make. So
Yes.
tell me, along those same lines, what's changed in your business and or your personal life since that you started working with us?
Yeah. So what has changed in my business and my personal life? So we fixed our quoting. That's a big one. I think we fixed a lot of our internal processes when it comes to how we are looking at our calculations for the way that we design and build our systems. It is really important that we, as a small company in this particular industry, that we capitalize on key areas of the market. Unfortunately, in our industry, it's hard to make money on some product lines, and it's hard to make money on certain areas and types of systems. And not that it's all about the money, but bills have to be paid. People have to be paid. And we love doing what we do, but I think before we were just we were just winging it, and everything was just so happened to be working out, but it could be a lot better. And I think that's a big thing that has changed is we understand the direction that we're headed. We understand where the money can take us and what we should be aiming for with different margins and things like that. We understand the deeper roots of the financial picture for the overall company. And that is huge. That is, they say information is key, and that's a very good example of it. A lot of the stuff that you have shown me through this process, and when we do our calls, has been just the meat and potatoes, is the way I would describe it, of how we're actually doing financially. So that's been a big thing. And then I would just say the other thing is, again, that stress factor. Just being able to breathe is just a huge thing. Like, knowing I can come to work now and I can work with my team, and I can honestly look these people in the face and say, hey, we're doing well financially as a company. I can look my team in the face and say, you should be proud of where we're going. You should be proud because your roles and what you do matters, and you're helping shape this financial picture. And that's just awesome. So the stress factor has come down of like, oh my gosh, what are we doing? How are we going to get there? So on and so forth. And then just knowing that the rich details of the backstory of, or the backside of the financial picture is huge. So that's how I'd say that.
Yeah, you guys should definitely be proud. So before we sign off, why would you recommend Peak Financial Wellness to another business owner?
Oh, I would recommend Peak Financial to another business owner, just simply because you are the real deal. You're the real deal. You are not trying to, I don't feel like you're trying to pressure us into working with a consultant like yourself. I don't feel like you're another mainstream consultant type of business. I feel like you really do have a heart for people. I feel like you really do have a heart for the person's business. And I would just say, I feel like you want to see the team succeed, so to speak. And you genuinely, it is very clear to me that you have a genuine heart for this. And that it's just been, it's good to know that somebody's got our back. And it's good to know that you have our back because that's where your heart's at, not because that's where the dollars are leading. Anybody can do a job and make money, but it's different whenever you have a heart and almost like a calling to do this. And I feel like you guys are very genuine. You're very honest. And I couldn't speak highly enough of you guys. So I would recommend Peak Financial to anyone.
Oh, well, thanks for saying that, Todd. And it's truly been a pleasure working with you. I want to really acknowledge you and your growth, and I'm looking forward to continuing to work together. So thanks again for taking time to do this today.
Yeah, absolutely. Anytime.